Straight ahead on 12 News, the political race that's drawing in people from out of state. We catch up with the Paulsen-Bonoff camps. Then headed to New Hope, where the city is collecting feedback on building a new city hall. And later, an Osseo man with a gift that brings smiles to kids. 12 News starts right now. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us. The 3rd congressional district race between Republican Eric Paulsen and his Democratic challenger Terry Bonoff has become one of the most closely watched campaigns in the nation.
And both candidates are receiving plenty of outside help. As Delane Cleveland reports, some prominent members of Congress made their way to Plymouth to rally support.
Thank you, Greg. Hey, everybody.
With the election less than a week away,
What's going on?
Hundreds gathered in the parking lot of a Plymouth office complex to hear House Speaker Paul Ryan sing the praises of Congressman Eric Paulsen.
This is a man who loves his family. This is a man who knows where he comes from. He knows who he represents. He is a man of solid integrity. He's a conscientious legislator in the best way.
This wasn't the only political rally held in Plymouth on Wednesday. Earlier in the day,
for the first time in 8 years, we have a candidate who is a strong contrast to Eric Paulsen.
A similar event took place at a Plymouth business to rally support for Terry Bonoff in her bid to unseat Paulsen.
Terry, better than most, if not all, understands business, understands what it takes to keep an economy growing.
Bonoff's strategy was to paint herself as someone who's business-minded and socially progressive.
I am the business community's partner, and I've been proud to be endorsed each and every re-election by the Minnesota Chamber, the Twin S Chamber, and have earned the Guardian of Small Business Award.
While at the Paulsen rally,
Every single one of us, we've got to get on the phone because the Democrats are pouring millions in here.
the message centered on making sure the Democrats don't retake the House.
We all know that Nancy Pelosi would love to win this seat back. She handpicked Terry Bonoff to be a candidate to run to help for her tax and spend agenda.
But overall, the members of Congress wanted their base to work hard over the next several days to get out the vote.
I will never be out-hustled, but I need your help and support. I know we can win this race with your help. God bless all of you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Well, according to campaign finance disclosures compiled by ProPublica, Paulsen has $1.6 million in cash on hand, and he's raised more than $4.5 million for his race. Bonoff, on the other hand, has $215,000 in cash on hand and has raised more than $1.6 million. Alex and Mike?
All right, thanks, Dwayne. It is not the only race where a lot of money is being spent. The latest numbers show spending for control of the state legislature is climbing.
Now, for example, $795,000 has been spent in the race to win the state Senate seat that's currently held by Terry Bonoff. Most of that money did not come from the candidates, but from third parties. Political science expert David Schultz says that can create some problems.
That means a candidate can't really control the message, can't really control the flow. If an outside group is going hugely negative and it's not going well, there's nothing that the candidate can do. And so think about it to a large extent. Being a candidate for a legislative seat, Senate or House, their money is almost insignificant compared to all the amount of cash that's going to come in from independent expenditures.
Schultz points out that it's happening because with control of the state legislature in the balance, he says the stakes are very high.
Hennepin County is doing something it has never done before. All absentee ballots from the suburbs are now being counted at one central location. Before, it was left up to individual cities to count the ballots. Election officials say they decided to consolidate the counting because they didn't want cities to be overwhelmed by the huge number of absentee ballots.
This is a record year for absentee ballots. We're expecting more ballots than we've ever had before. In Hennepin County, we're expecting 150,000 voters to cast their ballots via absentee.
Although the ballots are being counted, officials can't poll results until after the polls close at 8 p.m. on election night.
Well, the scenery is changing in more ways than one along I-494 in Maple Grove.
1, 2, 3.
Not only is the 494 third lane project wrapping up, but groundbreaking took place today for a new office building. The two-story building will be located on city-owned property just north of the Upshur Smith facility It'll be the new home for two growing companies, Nexus Solutions, which is moving from Champlin, and Maple Grove accounting firm Barton, Walter & Creer.
As every business has experienced, there's some shortage in manpower, and we know a lot of people drive down 494 heading to downtown Minneapolis, and they can see our building, they can know they could be to work a half hour, 45 minutes earlier in the wintertime, and we see that as a great recruiting tool for us.
And the new building is expected to be ready next year.
Should the city of New Hope build a new city hall and police station or remodel the current one? More than 3 dozen people attended an open house at City Hall last night to learn more about the options. For the past 3 years, the city has been analyzing the need for a new facility. There are leaks in the roof and a serious lack of space in the police department. A task force has been gathering feedback from citizens throughout the process.
Police station and City Hall.
From the public, I have heard some great insight about making sure that the entry is very aesthetically pleasing and faces Xylon so that people can find the entry easily.
The City Council is expected to take action by the end of the year. The favored option is building a new facility on the site of the current city pool and then reconstructing the pool where City Hall is now.
In Robbinsdale, construction is getting underway on the city's first park pavilion. The city is constructing the new pavilion at Lakeview Terrace Park on the south side of Crystal Lake. The $420,000 project has taken years of planning and fundraising. The pavilion could be used for large community gatherings like weddings and band concerts, and it is scheduled to open in May. An accident in Plymouth Thursday morning could have been a lot worse. A Plymouth woman driving a Lexus veered off I-494 at Schmidt Lake Road shortly before 11 a.m. According to the State Patrol, she had rear-ended another vehicle, then overcorrected before crashing through a fence and striking a tree. Fortunately, nobody was hurt.
It is a sure sign that the end of the construction season is near for a large project in Golden Valley. Hennepin County has begun paving Douglas Drive between Medicine Lake Road and Sandburg Road. A final layer of pavement will be installed later this month. The road is expected to reopen to traffic in mid-November, and that'll be good news for local residents who have seen increased traffic on residential streets nearby. Nearly 2 miles of Douglas Drive is being rebuilt to improve traffic flow and also pedestrian safety.
Coming up, a standout student who speaks the language of hard work and positivity.
And then a little bit later in sports, the Champlin Park football team aims for a second round playoff win.
But first, where's November? We're not complaining, but temperatures will stay warm. Well, this week's standout student is driven to bridge the gap between different worlds.
She's a Park Center High School senior with language skills she can use to help others.
Me llamo Judith Marquez-Duran y tengo 17 años.
We asked 17-year-old Judith Marquez-Duran to introduce herself in Spanish because language is a big part of the story for this Park Center senior.
My dad's from Veracruz, and I was born here.
Born in southern Mexico, Judith came to Minnesota at 4 years old. 13 years later, she's fluent in 3 languages.
My first native language is Spanish, and then my second language is English, and then I'm currently in French 4.
She serves as a bridge between 2 worlds. English at school with her peers, Spanish at home with her immigrant parents.
Because my parents don't really understand English, well, they prefer me to speak in Spanish because they don't want me to forget it.
It's a role Judith has embraced.
Mi hermana siempre me convida de su comida.
As she works to improve her grammar in a new course called Spanish for Native Speakers, this near straight-A student also serves as a volunteer interpreter each summer at the Schwann's USA Cup soccer tournament in Blaine.
Teams that come from Argentina, Venezuela, Mexico, since they don't know a lot of English, I'll be like their interpreter or their guide, so I'll help them transition into like Minnesota, and if they have any questions, I'll be there for them.
I think the biggest thing is like she's hardworking, she's very motivated. Make sure that you have a response here in this discussion.
IB history teacher Art Wachholtz sees in Judith a student who challenges herself and one who should do well. given her drive to help others.
You get lucky as a teacher when you get a student that wants to work really hard and is really motivated, not only just like in life and outside of school, but just in the topic that you teach. And I think that it just makes not only your job as a teacher easier, but it makes everybody else in the room want to do that much better, which is awesome.
Judith hasn't decided yet on a major, but her dream school is to attend the University of Chicago next fall. Still ahead, an Osseo man who's carving up smiles with his woodworking.
But first, highlights from a big night of section volleyball semifinals. John Jacobson is in next. A couple of local volleyball teams seem to be rolling at a very good time of the season. Champlin Park and Wayzata going strong.
It is going to be a terrific section final come Saturday, I think. With a 28-2 record, the Champlin Park volleyball team is one of the best in the state. Rebels were after their third straight Section 5 3A final appearance when they hosted Blaine in a 1 versus 4 seed semifinal match. First set, Izzy Ashburn sets the ball outside to All-State hitter Sidney Hilly, whose kill gives the Rebels an early 8-3 lead. Champlin Park dominates the first set. Ashburn sets up Emma Schmidt for the attack and kill. Rebels win 25-12. Blaine keeps it close the rest of the way, though. Second set, Laura Snyder with a back set to Karina Evans for the kill to get the Bengals within a point at 19-18. Rebels will keep the lead, though. Schmidt with the kill late in the set. Champlin Park wins 25-21, and they go up 2-0. The Bengals lead for a time in the third set. Aaliyah Macumba's kill gives Blaine a 2-point lead at 12-10. Hilly helps Champlin Park answer. Her ace is part of an 8-3 run for the Rebels to put them in front for good. And they'll close out the Bengals on a kill by Schmidt as Champlin Park heads back to the Section 5 championship with a tough 3-game sweep of Blaine.
We had to keep up our defense a lot because they were picking a lot of stuff up, so we had to keep rolling with it and, put the ball down however we could. They were being scrappy. They had good defense, great hitters. We just had to keep at it.
On paper, the first semifinal looked like it might be closer. That didn't really turn out to be the case, though. Third seed Osseo facing number 2 seed Wayzata in the semifinal opener, and Osseo gets off to a solid start. Kate Achenbach's hit down the line gives the Orioles an 11-8 lead in set 1. But Wayzata surges ahead. They get a big block from Deborah Kovalzuk, and Wayzata holds off a late Osseo rally, winning the opening set 25-21. Second set is all Wayzata. Kenzie Greshel sets to Kate Berg. She hammers it home, and the Trojans roll 25-14. Osseo tries to battle back in the third. Great hustle by Lane Ruska to track it down and get a pass to Tina Bowe, who gets the kill, but they still trail 18-14. And Wayzata plays a strong match. Berg's kill helps the Trojans to a sweep of Osseo. Now they get set for Champlin Park.
We're going to go after Champlin Park the same way we went after Osseo tonight. We're going to work together, we're going to have sharp memories, and we're going to stay positive the entire night.
The football playoffs resume Friday night. The Champlin Park Rebels are looking to build on an opening round win in Class 6A. The Rebels are preparing to take on Eastridge, the state runner-up last fall. Champlin Park pulled away with a strong second half to crush Armstrong 47-14 in the first round last Friday. Although they've never faced Eastridge, they have an idea of what to expect from the Raptors.
They got a pretty good offense, but Coach V's also assured us that it's nothing new. We've seen all this stuff before. We just got to play our fundamentals, and we'll be fine.
They're playing a 3-4, We've seen that before. We've seen that all season, the stuff they do. I think we'll be fine. We just have to have good days of practice.
Champlin Park lost starting quarterback Ben Otto to a broken collarbone in the win over Armstrong last week. Senior Chad Costello, who has been a starter in the past, stepped in and he played well. The Rebels have confidence that he'll do it again this week.
Bennett went down, but we know we have a good quarterback in Chad, so they're the same player, interchangeable. But we definitely got to clean it up. Eastridge is a pretty good team, and we're going to be challenged.
It doesn't change a lot. We're fine. We've ran with 2 guys back there all season. They've gotten in most games, and so now it's just it'll be different. It might change the way things
come off and stuff like that, and it might give me a little more gray hairs worried about who's going to be the backup.
The Rebels play at Eastridge Friday night at 7 o'clock. In addition to Champlin Park's game at Eastridge, a handful of other teams from around the area are still alive in the section playoffs. Maple Grove is home to play Edina in another Class 6A game. That's our television game this week here on Channel 12. Also, Totino Grace hosts Hopkins in 6A. Cooper plays at Spring Lake Park in a Class 5A section championship. And in 4A, Benilde St. Margaret's is home to play Holy Angels. Highlights from State Soccer Championship Friday starting at 4 on 12 News.
Okay, thanks a lot, John.
Still ahead, an Osseo man with a passion for wood carving.
We will show you Ray Smith's latest project that's making kids smile when we come back. A retired Osseo resident is keeping plenty busy these days.
Ray Smith likes wood carving and is very good at it. And as Eric Nelson found out, some area kids are benefiting from his talents.
I can keep making them as long as they want them.
It's called woodwork.
There we go.
But for Ray Smith, it's actually wood love.
So something I like to do. It's not work.
Smith has been retired from 3M since the 1980s, but has never slowed down.
Sand it out a little bit.
His passion is wood carving.
Yeah, it takes a little time.
Smith spends 6 to 7 days a week building toy trucks for kids at the Minneapolis Children's Hospital.
I assemble a half a dozen of them, and once the parts are cut, assemble them in a day.
These wooden gifts have brought plenty of smiles to area youngsters. Smith also has given away other toys to hospitals in St. Paul and western Wisconsin.
I've made 3 long train engines, 3 wheels with a connecting rod for a pull train.
Wood carving is in Smith's DNA.
I built 3 houses and I did a lot of the woodworking in the houses.
His workshop is in the basement of the Real Life Co-op in Osseo. Smith has plenty of tools available to make these cool toy trucks.
Got to have a table saw and sanders, spindle sander, and miter saw.
And of course, plenty of sandpaper to smooth out the rough edges.
A lot of sandpaper.
In Osseo, I'm Eric Nelson, Channel 12 News.
Smith has also built replicas of the Osseo Clock Tower and Osseo Water Tower, as well as the Real Life Co-op residence where he lives. A talented man.
Wow, way to go, Ray.
Yeah, it's a good way to spend some time. Appreciate
Absolutely.
that. That's it for now. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
We will see you back here again on Friday, starting at 4 o'clock.